Welcome back to Coffee and Conversions, and today we are talking about Tailwind, and specifically keywords on Tailwind when it relates to Pinterest. Today's episode is for anyone who's using Pinterest who's ever thought, I'm posting, but I'm not totally sure why I'm posting. We're talking about Pinterest keywords, specifically how to use them using Tailwind's new keyword tool and why it matters way more than templates, trends, or posting more without a strategy. This episode isn't a step-by-step tutorial. That's what the blog post and YouTube video are for, because it's definitely more of a visual topic. But I wanted to introduce it on the podcast, and then if you want a step-by-step guide on what to look for and how to see it, definitely go to the blog. Instead, I want to help you understand today how Pinterest thinks and why Tailwind is the tool to actually get things done, and how to spot good keywords versus ones that look helpful but won't move the needle. So if Pinterest feels like a mystery or like you're guessing every time you create content, you are in the right place. Welcome to Coffee and Conversions, the podcast for millennial moms building something meaningful alongside real life. We're talking web design, SEO, Pinterest, and organic marketing, the behind-the-scenes systems to help your business get seen without taking over your life. I'm Julie, the founder of PNW Designs. I'm a Minnesota mom working full-time in corporate America, actually in finance, while growing my business on the side. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that growth doesn't come along from doing more. It comes from doing what actually works. Most of my business ideas start with coffee, and this podcast is all about strategies that actually convert, hence Coffee and Conversions. It's not about hustle for the sake of hustle, and it's not about pretty things that don't perform. So grab your coffee, pop in your headphones, and let's get into today's episode. First and foremost, let's talk about Tailwind. Tailwind is a Pinterest-approved tool that will let you schedule out months and months and months in advance, up to a year. It's not just a scheduler. It's designed to help you understand what people are searching for, plan content intentionally, and stop guessing when it comes to looking at your analytics. It gives deeper analytics than Pinterest. It allows you to schedule way more in advance. Pinterest, I think, is typically like 30 days. And I schedule up to a year in advance with my system. In my Pinterest course, I primarily talk about scheduling in Tailwind because of this, because it's just that good. I walk through how to use their AI tools to your advantage to cut down time when scheduling and what I would and wouldn't focus on when scheduling. But if you want to hear those secrets, you need to actually buy the course. Today, we're talking about their new enhancement and why keywords are so important. So, before we dive into Tailwind, let's talk about why keywords matter. Again, this isn't the first time I've talked about this topic, and it's not going to be the last time I talk about this topic on the podcast, because Pinterest is a search engine, not a social platform. So guess what fits hand in hand? SEO and Pinterest. Your content can last months or years, not days or minutes. It's one of those tools that's like sneaky powerful. You wouldn't think that it could get that many results, but oftentimes you will, after implementing strategy, get more organic search traffic through Pinterest than Google after like a couple of months. And you just like don't expect that. And so why are keywords important with that? As we've talked about in many episodes, keywords are the words people use to find you. If you are using keywords correctly on Pinterest, they know who to show your content to. They will know what your content is about. They will know when to resurface it when search traffic is coming back up or growing, and they will be able to dictate how long it stays relevant. Examples, think of it like this. Someone searching for a high protein breakfast. How many times have you pinned stuff that is food related? Like Pinterest, that's the OG Pinterest, right? Nursery organization ideas, website SEO checklist, Pinterest marketing tips. It doesn't just reward the pretty pictures, it rewards clarity, and it rewards having people be able to find what they're actually searching for. Think of it like this. You go onto Instagram, a lot of times it's to turn your brain off. You're going on Pinterest because you're looking specifically for something. You're not there to scroll to turn your brain off. You're there to find exactly what you're looking for and to get your answers. So how does Tailwind fit in? This is where the gold comes. Tailwind has beta launched their keyword research tool, and this tool actually launched as I was recording my modules for my course in Q4 of 2025. So I ended up adding a full module or a full lesson on it, including a walkthrough in my course. But once you log into Tailwind, again, if you have it as a Pinterest person, if you were listening to this, planning on implementing Pinterest, you need Tailwind. Under the keywords tab, it's labeled beta. It'll show you keyword demand. It'll give you relevant keyword suggestions, and it'll help you think of topics if you're looking for ideas. So if you know you talk about home organization, but don't know exactly where you want to go with your next blog, you could type in home organization and it would give you topics that people are searching for actively on Pinterest. You can put in your website and it'll pull keywords it believes would work for that page. So you could search, which means is you could search for specific blog pages that you have posted. And if you can't find words on your Google Search Console, you would be able to find ideas on Tailwind. Now, to be clear, I would still use Google Search Console first. And that's what I teach in the course, because that is what words your website is actually showing up for. But this is a great alternative if you aren't getting traffic or keywords aren't showing up under a specific post on Google Search Console. So you can type in a topic and it gives you the additional words. It's something called resonance, which says it's the volume and whether Pinterest is prioritizing that content with those keywords. No, it is in beta mode and not every topic will show up on the tool. Not every topic or keyword will have volume, but it is an amazing option to get, your keywords listed. So if you already have Tailwind, don't forget to check it out either as you are looking for keyword topics or batching pins. If you're following my Pinterest scheduling system, which you learned through Create It, Pin It, Let It Work, then you know exactly where to put them in your Notion planner. I will note this doesn't have competition, which is super important for your long form content strategy. So again, don't necessarily use it for planning your long form content. It could give you ideas, and then I would still have you go back and search competition through Ubersuggest. Now, again, if that's Greek to you, that's what the course is for. Quick pause, because if Pinterest feels confusing or like it's way too much work, then this is for you. Create It, Pin It, Let It Work, my Pinterest marketing course, is built for business owners who want traffic without living on social media. You get done-for-you Pinterest templates, a step-by-step video training, so you're not guessing on what to create or how to use it. And here's the difference. This isn't just generic Pinterest tips. I teach real SEO strategy, 4 different approachable ways so that your content works harder and it lasts longer, and you can actually use this approach to create your long form content, not just the Pinterest pins. It's half the cost of the leading Pinterest course without cutting corners, and it's designed to fit into your real life from a mom recording in the cracks of my own day. If you want Pinterest working quietly in the background while focusing on your business, this is it. Learn more at buypwdesigns.com/Pinterest-marketing-course or linked in the show notes. Now back to the show. An example of this, again, is you're going to start with a broad topic. So you're going to think short tail keyword. That is going to be 1 or 2 words that you would type into the keyword bar so that Tailwind knows how to narrow down your search topic. And then, so for example, if I type SEO checklist, that is what I would put into the tool. Tailwind reviews, for example, off-page SEO checklist, local SEO checklist, SEO checklist 2025. Obviously, I'm recording this in 26, so that would be 26 now. SEO checklist for WordPress, SEO checklist website, SEO checklist template. These are all things SEO checklist for WordPress. I could totally do a blog on SEO checklist for WordPress blogs because that is the back end of Show It. And I am, obviously huge into Show It. I could do a local SEO checklist, which I have not done. So it gives me ideas, but also if I've generated content around that stuff, that's what I would use for the pins that I'm scheduling for that. On the blog, you'll see the little green lines for the resonance, which will tell you kind of the relevance of that. The blog will also show what Google Search Console is. If I type in for my SEO checklist page, what keywords I'm showing up for there versus what is showing up on Tailwind, and I would be able to balance both of those. Remember that just because it gives you a list doesn't mean to use all of them. You just have to use the right ones consistently. So, common mistakes that people make with Pinterest keywords. In my course, one of the systems I teach, or one of the reasons I teach the system that I teach is that Pinterest prioritizes volume. It is something that is required in order to maximize your results. So how I teach is that I have each entrepreneur create 4 sets of 52 pins. Now I give you the base for those, and you literally just have to update them to your branding. And then those 4 sets are what you batch each month. So it's 4 pieces of content, 52 pins per piece of content, for a total of 208 pins per month that you are scheduling. Those pins get scheduled on Tailwind for a year, because again, it's 52 weeks, 52 pins, 1 pin per week, or 1 pin per week per set. So by month 6, you're up to 10 pins a day. It takes 6 months to build it though. The reason that's important is, as we talk through this, when I am talking about batching pins, the leading course talks about batching only 10 pins per piece of content. I do 52 because I want Pinterest to see that piece of content every single week. Now, why that's important is you need to diversify your keywords when you are scheduling that content. Imagine this. What if you created 52 pins and targeted the keyword SEO checklist? And that's the only keyword you used on your titles, on your descriptions, etc. Here's the problem. If that is too competitive, then you won't get any results. Why the keyword research tool matters and why keywords matter is you want to diversify the keywords that you are utilizing, because it will give you a greater chance of results. You never know which pin will actually hit the search algorithm. So it gives you diversification in search keywords that you can't get by just blogging alone. Now, another common mistake is, and I go through this kind of like board strategy in the course as well, but little tidbit, creating boards with vague names. So for example, those are also keywords. You don't want to use too short of keywords. You don't want to do just crafts, for example, because it's like everyone's searching for that. You want to be more specific. You want to niche down. You don't want to chase trends instead of your actual intent around your content. You need to make sure that the pins that you are creating are relevant to the link, the click-through link. If you do not do that, Pinterest will deprioritize you and you will get screwed. The other thing is don't put keywords just in your pin titles. That's what the description is for. That's what the images are for. Pinterest actually reads images as well. So, these are just little tidbits. Again, the point is to really walk through on the blog how, if you're active in Pinterest, how to actually go through and do the keyword research. But this is just those little reminders of things you need to keep in mind. So one of the other notes I'll note, and I've said this in other episodes, is you do need to have enough content to show up. If you only have 5 blogs, you do not have enough content to stay sustainable on Pinterest. If you have 15 blogs, you have a start, but you really do need a lot of content in order to continuously show up under this system. So keep that in mind and make sure that you have a long-term strategy. Now, if you want to see this tool in action, I've put together a step-by-step blog post and YouTube video where I walk through exactly how to use it from setup to choosing your keywords. I'm actually going to post my bonus module for my lesson in my course into the blog and onto YouTube. So check that out. And this podcast is really for understanding the why behind why it's important. And the blog and video are going to get to show you the how of actually how to do it and show you what I would and wouldn't do. Pinterest doesn't necessarily reward doing more, but it rewards doing things with intention, and it rewards testing things out. That's why I said you always need to use more than one keyword when you're batching your content. And Pinterest stops feeling random and starts feeling strategic when you actually have the system behind it. So if you want a step-by-step walkthrough, you can find the blog post and the YouTube video linked in the show notes. And if episodes like this help you build your business more clearly and calmly, make sure you're subscribed because you don't want to miss what's coming next. I will see you next time on Coffee and Conversions. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Coffee and Conversions. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate every single person who listens. If this episode helped you think differently about your business, I'd love if you left a rating and review or shared it with a friend who is running a business alongside you, because community is everything. It's the easiest way to help this podcast reach more women who want a strategy that actually works. You can find links, resources, and anything mentioned in today's episode in the show notes. For more tools, services, and behind-the-scenes strategy, head over to buypwdesigns.com. And if you want to peek into my real life, corporate job, mom life, running a business, and really just like the true me, you can find me at Instagram over at julie.pwdesigns, and I hang out there most days. Until next time, keep on building intentionally, and I will see you back here at Coffee and Conversions. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Coffee and Conversions. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate every single person who listens. If this episode helped you think differently about your business, I'd love if you left a rating and review or shared it with a friend who is running a business alongside you, because community is everything. It's the easiest way to help this podcast reach more women who want a strategy that actually works. You can find links, resources, and anything mentioned in today's episode in the show notes. For more tools, services, and behind-the-scenes strategy, head over to buypwdesigns.com. And if you want to peek into my real life, corporate job, mom life, running a business, and really just like the true me, you can find me at Instagram over at julie.pwdesigns, and I hang out there most days. Until next time, keep on building intentionally, and I will see you back here at Coffee and Conversions.